Chester, and you're watching Fractal Holographics, my channel of cosmic consciousness, bringing you the truth that will set you free. In this episode, I will be exposing some more highly classified programs involving geoengineering, weather warfare, and Psyops. Ever wonder if global warming is a huge Psyop? Well, it is very much so, which Trump is well aware of and is the real reason he withdrew the US from the Paris Climate Accord. Well done, a bold move in the right direction. According to a 1982 Air Force review of biotechnology, ALF has a number of potential military uses, including dealing with terrorist groups, crowd control, controlling breaches of security at military installations, and anti-personnel techniques in tactical warfare, and to produce mild to severe perceptual distortion or disorientation. On March 23, 1991, a news brief was released in the form of an ITV News Bureau London Wire service bulletin entitled, "High-Tech Psychological Warfare Arrives in the Middle East, Operation Desert Storm, Iraq." Writing, "An unbelievable and highly classified Psyops program utilizing silent sound techniques was successfully deployed. Subliminally, a powerful technology was at work, a sophisticated electronic system designed to speak directly to the mind of the listener, to alter and entrain his brainwaves, to manipulate his brain's electroencephalographic patterns and thus artificially implant negative emotional states. Feelings of intense fear, anxiety, despair, and hopelessness were created in the Iraqi troops. It implants these emotions in their minds. This technology is responsible for many psyops, including global warming, flat Earth, the Mandela effect, and many other distorted perception programs. This technology is being used, albeit in a more subtle fashion, against American citizens in a highly classified and covert operation to mind control and manipulate the entire population into compliance with the New World Order overlords. The technology will utilize a combination of satellites, Haarp transmitters, Gwen towers, microwave cell phone towers, and all smart devices. The sound of silence is a military intelligence code word for certain psychotronic weapons of mass mind control used extensively by the modern US military. The mind-altering covert weapon is based on something called subliminal carrier technology, or the silent sound spread spectrum. It is described in US patent number 5,159,703, Silent Subliminal Presentation System, for commercial use in 1992. The patent abstract reads, "A silent communication system in which non-neural carriers in the very low ELF or very high audio frequency VHF range is propagated acoustically or vibrationally for inducement into the brain, typically through the use of loudspeakers, earphones, or piezoelectric transducers. In layman's terms, this device, the sound of silence, simply allows for the unwarranted implantation of specific thoughts, emotions, and even memories into unsuspecting human beings. In short, it has the very real ability to turn human beings into mere puppets in the hands of certain controllers, or puppet masters." August 1996, the US Navy and Air Force launched their Owning the Weather by 2025 program. April 28, 1997, in a DoD news briefing, the Secretary of Defense, William S. Cohan, was quoted as saying, quote, "Others are engaging even in an eco-type of terrorism, whereby they can alter the climate, set off earthquakes, volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves. So there are plenty of ingenious minds out there that are at work, finding ways in which they can wreak terror upon other nations. It's real, and that's the reason why we have to intensify our efforts, and that's why this is so important," end quote. US President Eisenhower warned the nation in his final farewell speech of the unwarranted influence by the military-industrial complex. According to Eisenhower, this threat exists and will persist. Televisions across the US and Canada all went 100% digital, mandatory as of February 2009, implementing their signal's use of the sound of silence frequencies in order to successfully link to Gwen towers, which would allow the unrestricted, complete, and massive control of the nation's mind and consciousness. The military-industrial complex has quietly completed the takeover of the nation's consciousness, and thus its very soul. There is ample evidence that certain elitists in America and Israel plan to definitely extend the capacity of this Haarp technology to encompass all people on every continent. And that's not going to happen. There's already been attempts to stop that. There is an interplay between electromagnetic oscillations and man. Earth is wrapped in a donut-shaped magnetic field. Circular lines of flux continuously descend into the North Pole and emerge from the South Pole. The ionosphere, an electromagnetic wave conductor 100 kilometers above the Earth, consists of a layer of electrically charged particles acting as a shield from solar winds. Collectively, these waves are called the Schumann resonance. These are quasi-standing, extremely low-frequency ELF waves that naturally exist in the Earth's electromagnetic cavity, the space between the ground and the ionosphere. These Earth brainwaves are identical to the spectrum of our own brainwaves. 1 Hertz equals 1 cycle per second. Intelligent infinity designed living beings to resonate to this natural frequency pulsation in order to evolve harmoniously. The ionosphere is being manipulated by US government scientists using Haarp. ELF waves from Haarp, when targeted on areas, can create mood changes affecting millions. An imbalance between Schumann and geomagnetic waves disrupts biorhythms. These natural geomagnetic waves are being replaced by artificially created very low frequency ground waves coming from the Gwen towers. What's a Gwen tower? Well, the Gwen is a ground wave emergency network transmitter placed 200 miles apart across the USA, allows specific frequencies to be tailored to the geomagnetic field strength in each area, allowing the magnetic field to be altered. The VLF signals travel by waves that hug the ground rather than radiating into the atmosphere. A Gwen station transmits circularly up to 300 miles. The entire Gwen system consists of, depending on the source of data, from 58 to an intended 300 transmitters spread across the USA, each with a tower 299 to 500 feet high. USA bathes in this magnetic field, which rises to 500 feet, even going down to basements. So everyone is mind controlled. It is easier to mind control and hypnotize people who are bathed in an artificial electromagnetic wave. In 1963, Dr. Robert Becker explored effects of external magnetic fields on brainwaves, showing a relationship between psychiatric admissions and solar magnetic storms. The highly experienced scientist Clifford E. Carnicom, in an interview with Alfred Lambermont Weber, was quoted as saying, quote, "The aerosol spraying chemtrailing operation has transformed the Earth's atmosphere into a plasma for carrying out weaponized applications for electromagnetic operations such as Haarp, weather warfare, tectonic earthquake warfare, mind control, and advanced surveillance technology. The overall purpose of this covert operation of spraying aerosols into the atmosphere and converting it into plasma was to achieve absolute control over the global human population," end quote. The chemtrails consist of billions of nanoparticles with different ratios and compositions being sprayed for different purposes. At varying levels, you'll find aluminum, iron, barium, strontium, lithium, bacteria, viruses, nanites, and polymer fibers as carriers, among other things. These particles, aside from the mind control component, create an electrically or electrostatically charged lattice in the atmosphere for the receiving of Haarp. The images shown in this video show a strong atmospheric manipulation by extremely high frequency radio and microwave transmissions and atmospheric aerosols. These transmissions leave an indistinguishable pattern on high-grade cloud formations that are saturated with electrically conductive heavy metal nanoparticles, barium and aluminum among others, which are sprayed from jet aircraft as part of ongoing climate manipulation. These signals are sent from numerous locations around the world from various types of transmission platforms, ionospheric heating systems such as Haarp, SPX radar, NEXRAD, etc. The effects of microwave transmission on cloud formation are deep and highly visible. Many of the chemtrail byproducts are incredibly dangerous, even in trace quantities, contributing to the altering of brain chemistry and DNA. These are also the cause of the influx of recent skin conditions like eczema, various eye issues, and allergy issues. Pretty much everything that's wrong with people these days is directly relative to these programs. Neurosurgeon Russell L. Blaylock for the National Health Federation on April 18, 2012, stated, end quote, "My major concern is that there is evidence that they are spraying tons of nano-sized aluminum compounds. Nano-sized particles induce intense inflammation in a number of tissues. Of special concern is the effect of these nanoparticles on the brain and spinal cord. As a growing list of neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's dementia, Parkinson's disease, and Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, in addition to inhaling nano-aluminum, such spraying will saturate the ground, aluminum poisons soil in which only Monsanto's aluminum-resistant hybrid plants can grow, water and vegetation with high levels of aluminum. Nano-aluminum will also produce tremendous inflammatory reaction within the lungs. Iron oxide nanoparticles have also caused red rainfall in certain areas of the world. These images show water tested for chemtrail chemical fallout. The first image is an analysis of the contents of chemicals in the rain in Queensland, Australia. The second image is chemical elements from chemtrails tested in a remote Californian lake. Normal values would be about zero. This third image is Californian drinking water from Snowy Mountain. Normal values would be about 0 again. Here in California, the cabal had been using Haarp for some time, creating a high-pressure system that was locked in place and baffled scientists so much so that they'd named it the Ridiculously Resilient Ridge. It caused the worst drought here in over 500 years. Around the time of Trump's election, inside sources said that the Earth-based alliance had taken control of at least one Haarp facility that was being used against California and utilized it at a particular frequency oscillation to vibrate nuclei in the upper atmosphere at a very high frequency, causing them to freeze, which creates rainfall. At the time this intel was coming out, it was reported that California was going to get so much rain from an influx of water in the upper atmosphere, the scientists called the phenomenon an atmospheric river. That one season of an atmospheric river ended the worst drought here in 500 years. Well, it seems that move really pissed off the cabal because they really ramped up their attempts in a last-ditch mass extinction effort while they're on their dying legs. California has been getting hit with hundreds of chemtrails and Haarp frequencies in repeated cycles. What you're seeing is a war playing out right before your eyes, but through clandestine operations and utilizing heavily classified programs and technologies. Several weeks ago here in California, we had massive amounts of chemtrails, starting out very heavy, ironically, the morning after I posted my first video. My area was getting blasted with Haarp, as evidenced by these pictures I took in my backyard. Wildfires being blamed, NICS came, and they were blaming it on the high pressure system with high winds and 100-degree heat that they created with chemtrails, along with electromagnetic weapons being used to start the fires, and the atmospheric electrostatic lattice being used as a focus lens to drive up the heat like light passing through a magnifying glass. Pictures and videos were taken showing trees burning from the inside out and cars melting. More chemtrails came steady at hundreds per day, then came another heat wave and more fires. On a side note, the news was reporting fires before they actually happened. It was like 9/11 all over again, when news was reporting the planned and scripted Psyops terror attacks before they were executed, like the Tower 7 botch. So complete artificial fluctuations of temperature and humidity at very unnatural rates for winter in California. Another concern is that our sunsets show these chemtrails as blood red, more than likely evidence of dense amounts of lithium for mind control. At sunset, our chemtrail-filled skies look just as fake as the doctored images of Mars, which actually has blue skies and an atmosphere as seen in this image. Then I started to feel electromagnetic pulses from time to time and short bursts, which to me felt like they are doing everything they can to set off the San Andreas fault, much like they did with the Fukushima and Haiti quake. MIT and another research organization were studying atmospheric patterns for predicting earthquakes. And when studying Fukushima on March 11, 2011 and the Haiti January 12, 2010 quake, they found some highly unusual data. Infrared emissions in the atmosphere above the epicenter increased dramatically in the days before the devastating earthquake in Japan. And a French satellite observed a dramatic increase in ultra-low frequency radio waves over Haiti in the month before the magnitude 7 earthquake, suggesting that Haarp was being used to superheat the tectonic plates, causing the slip to give way, triggering the quakes. They are focused on California for a reason. It does feed a large percentage of the country with its farms, yes, and they have certainly poisoned the hell out of it, but it goes much deeper than that, literally. It's the San Andreas fault line. It's not your typical fault. It's special in the sense that it's one of the few faults on the planet primed for a subsurface sonic boom with its long straight lines. Fortunately, their efforts have been met with limited success due to the influx of 300 million plus wanderers incarnating here, doing grid work for this very reason, so keep up the great work. Of course, the Galactic Federation is supporting behind the scenes according to the Prime Directive. I have this beautiful picture taken by me in my area of Southern California of a light ship transmuting a chemtrail. They do the same thing to nuclear devices. There is actually videos online of these light ships doing what I have pictured if you search for it. They're usually cloaked and would appear only occasionally. To counteract these chemtrails being sprayed, every morning it's a very good idea to warm a cup of water to about a tea temperature and add a whole fresh squeezed lemon to it and drink it to cleanse the body of metals. I personally do this every morning and recommend it. Another very good thing is recreational cannabis use. for reducing the inflammation caused by the nanoparticles, which will then enable your body to heal itself, as well as protecting you neurologically. There is lots happening. We are about to go into the 2018-2023 solar catalyst window. 2018 begins as a year of truth, disclosure, and major upheavals leading up to the consciousness liberation. An important note is that the CIA is an asset of the deep state, or cabal, and North Korea is a CIA asset, just like ISIS and every other terrorist group they use as a psyop to perpetuate fear. They not only mind control their assets, but they also fund and arm them too. Could that be the real reason that rumors suggest the Marines raided the CIA headquarters? What you're seeing is the war between the Earth-based alliance and the cabal, so don't invest any energy into the psyops. I will be covering more of this information in a future episode. It's time for everyone to really wake up. Ignorance is no longer an option for continued existence on this planet as it bifurcates to the next vibratory density. Certain geometric alignments will occur that reopens a stargate in the hidden subterranean chambers under the Giza Plateau and will bring with it many great energies that should help to facilitate the reawakening of the goddess energy that had been sealed off here and replaced by a consumer survival program by the Draco long ago. I think it will be the beginning of one heck of an entertaining and exciting transformation. Cheers to 2018. Well, that's all for this episode. Love and light to you, my friends, and until next time.